have roll call, please?
Norm Berger,
Here.
Robert Clark,
Here.
Michael Gallo,
Here.
John Buzinski,
Here.
Sue Christie,
Present.
Ryan McKee,
Present.
Diane Circus,
Present.
Matthew Walters,
Here.
Melanie Zinn.
Here. Thank you. I'd like to let everyone know that we did have an executive session that was held today, September 12th, 2024, immediately prior to this regularly scheduled meeting for the purposes of personnel matters, including but not limited to performance and or discipline, negotiation, and legal issues. Director Conrad, do we have any community questions?
Yes, good evening, everyone. So we actually have two community questions submitted for this evening. I'll address each one of them separately. So the first one was from Stephanie Bailey from Chestnut Hill Township regarding safety and security. Our school's committed to maintaining a safe and secure environment for all of our students. We utilize an approach called community policing, which is a proactive, collaborative approach to prevent crime. So you can imagine it does involve the whole community, and that community is our staff, our students, and also our parents as well. If a parent is aware of any safety concerns, they should contact our school police or administration immediately. Students and parents can also report safety concerns through Safe to Say, or concerns specifically related to bullying, which we take very seriously. It can be, it's best to communicate directly with your child's principal to ensure that we can address the issue effectively and maintain a safe learning environment. Additionally, we do conduct random metal detector checks during the week. Over the past year, we have hired more security personnel and implemented additional measures to enhance safety in our school buildings. I also wanted to express my gratitude for our students, staff, and parents for their swift adaptation of last week's Thursday's remote instruction day. This precaution was taken following the Safe to Say tip, and out of an abundance of caution, as you know, we decided to switch to remote learning day. We know that this is an ongoing police investigation, so I unfortunately can't comment further on the details. But please be assured that the safety of our students and staff is really of the highest priority here in Pleasant Valley. The second question was submitted from Dottie Oswiak from Chestnut Hill Township regarding contract language on the board agenda item. The contract in question is pretty straightforward. I encourage Ms. Oswiak to schedule an appointment with me if there's parts of the contract that maybe she's unclear about. I'd also be happy to meet with her face-to-face, as I've done this many times with parents within our community that have questions or, having time to answer phone calls and return phone calls to people and individuals that have questions. I also wanted to encourage our community to attend our working session meetings, as there's an opportunity to ask questions, and actually we have those that occur once a month. I want to bring to the board's attention too, when we're talking about communication, related for the 23-24 school year. So our school district actually incurred $12,785 in legal fees related to right to know requests. And quite frankly, I'm a little bit perplexed as to why, right? Because I think that we offer multiple venues for individuals to come to a working session to ask questions. We might not have the data at our fingertips right then and there, but rest assured that if there are questions or there's data that individuals are looking for, I would really encourage them to reach out to really ease the financial burden that right to know requests tend to have. I believe we have 13 or 15 requests this year so far, and we just started 2 weeks in. So, again, we can have better opportunities to reduce the burden, financial burden of taxpayers, but just have face-to-face meetings. That's what communication is about. So that's all I have for this evening. Thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Conrad. Secretary's report, Mrs. Smale.
Good evening. Tonight I am requesting approval of the minutes of the meeting held on August 22nd, 2024, and approval of the September 12th, 2024 board meeting agenda, including the correction to item 8J, number 1. The building should be PVMS, not PVHS. Also, the removal of items 8F5 and the removal of item 8K2.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Berger, second by Mr. Walters. Is there any discussion?
I just, one quick question. I know I asked you this before. The federal program consultant, understated that they're going to be looking for more money. I thought they were going to, could you give me
No, they're gonna help, but there are ways that
I
we
thought they were
could.
saying, I thought you originally said they were going to take the money we had and show us how to spend it, but then.
No, they're gonna do both. They're gonna do both. they're gonna do both.
Okay, because that's what I was, when I was in the minutes there, it said that's what they're going to do. That they're going to be
Um,
searching for any particular ones? I mean,
Well, federal mandate
okay.
Is this in the agenda?
Yeah, it was it's in the, that was in the
in the
minutes.
minutes.
In the minutes, she stated,
Okay.
yeah, it was different.
It's, we could look to expand Title I into our other buildings. Right now, it's only in PDE and PDI. So we could look to get more money if we took it into the middle school and the high school. I know our team has already met with her several times, well, not several, a few times, and she's already given us some great feedback. Some things that we've done in the past that maybe we could be in better compliance with federal regulations. So it's been very fruitful.
No, I just thought,
Yeah.
it just seemed like, wow, that she's given more than I thought you said she was giving, which is good. Thank you.
Anyone else? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Anyone opposed? And that motion carries. Pleasant Valley citizens, is there anyone this evening that would like to address the board? If so, please come to the podium, state your name, the township you reside in. It's for agenda items only, and there is a 3-minute time. Seeing no one approach the podium, we will move on. Treasurer's report, Mrs. Service, please.
Yes, good evening. Tonight I would like to move item 4A through D. A is informational.
So move, Galler.
Mr. Galler, and I'm not sure who's seconding, Mr. Berger. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And that motion carries. Going on to business, Mr. Fitzgerald.
There is no unfinished business.
Okay. Anyone else have any other unfinished business? Okay, hearing none, we'll move into new business. Monroe Career and Technical Institute, Mrs. Surface.
Yes, my report is attached, but I've asked Mr. Van Hornies to bring up some pictures. We had our meeting this past Monday. Just wanted to give you a little bit of update on how the construction is going over there. The main entrance has now been demolished. We have to come in through the back and the side entrances. Okay. Keep going. Oop, there we go. They have completed the waterproofing around the existing foundation, which is the top right left one. You can see where they've gotten all the stone, they've got the foundation in. 85% of the foundation work is done at this point. They had to do a wall between the existing building, and due to land development, they had to make it a double wall. That's the concrete wall you're seeing over on the right-hand side. Go ahead. And we're moving forward. In total, it's about a $7 million project. We're about $2 million paid so far. We've had a few change orders, because we had some underpinning under the original building, land development changes that had to take place. They've all been approved as we've been going along. So things are moving over there. Just wanted to share.
Thank you, Mrs. Service. Any questions? Okay. All right. Okay, Colonial IU, Mr. Gallo.
Yeah, my report is attached, nothing else.
Okay, PSBA liaison, Mrs. Sims.
Just that the registration for the school director use of metrics and data reporting is open for registration if any of the directors are interested.
Thank you. Education report, I do not have anything this evening. Finance report, Mrs. Surface.
Nothing further.
Thank you. Athletic report, Mr. O'Keefe.
Good evening. My report is not attached to what I'm allowed to say tonight.
You're warning us?
I am warning you. So right now, fall sports are underway, and we're seeing great things from our athletes currently. It's awesome to see at all levels of our organizations. We recently received a parent feedback from an opposing team's parents about the way and manner our boys soccer team handled themselves. I'm not going to read it verbatim, but they were winning pretty good, scored nothing. And one of their players had gotten hurt. They helped them off the field. Our players are showing good sportsmanship by saying, "Hey, good job, guys," and just rooting them on. And I think it's nice to see when we hear good things, because we only hear bad things. So I just want to let the community know that our athletes are not just good on the field, but also good people. So it's a good spotlight to have for them. Secondly, is we are currently partnering with T-Mobile and Rob Gronkowski on teaming up with they're giving a multi-million-dollar contract for a stadium makeover. PB is entered in this opportunity to win this makeover, and anyone can help by taking pictures of school spirit at games or at tailgating at PB Bears Athletics, and at T-Mobile in the caption and adding a hashtag sweepstakes, hashtag FNFGL to caption. This will all be in the minutes, because I was gonna have a picture of it, but that's obviously beyond me, and I won't be doing any hashtags. That's that. Also, some exciting news is our athletic director is partnering with District 11 and this company called Digital Scoreboard. And what it is it's a digital scoreboard that's on a trailer. And I guess to get up and running, they're offering to let other school district host that. Mr. Gorzinski has secured us 4 days where they're actually going to use that. 3 within 2024 and 1 special event at the end of the year in 2025. So I think it's a great opportunity. Again, in the minutes, there might be a picture. I did email it. I don't know if it's going to come up, but I was able to copy and paste that. But it's really a trailer with this huge scoreboard. Actually, it's a large TV, and you get to make it what it is. I do know the first football game that we're going to try it out is 9:20. So hopefully everybody can come out and see how we struggle to make it work. But since I'm up in the booth doing it, so I'm going to be struggling to make it happen. Last but not least, our cross-country team had their first and only home match yesterday. It was held at the West End Regional Park in Chestnut Hill. The event was when I heard it was a great opportunity for the athletes, and it was a challenge versus the normal course that's here. And we just want to send a huge shout out to the Chestnut Hill road crew and supervisors for allowing us to use the West End Regional Park. We also want to thank the West End Fire Company Police and Traffic Control for keeping everybody safe during the running of this event. It was a huge success. It offered more challenging courses for not only athletes, but also our competitors. That's all I have.
I have a question. Is that track event something that they're looking to move forward with on that sort of venue? I like the idea, I was just wondering.
I wouldn't see why we would not continue to do that, since we only get to host 1 a year, because it's all the schools come to one event. I won't why that couldn't be our home course. I don't think Mr. Brzezinski's gonna have a problem, especially since it went off so well. That why would we not want to do that? Especially if it was more challenging than running the last year.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you, Mr. Keith. This policy report.
There's 7 policies on the agenda tonight for first reading.
Thank you. Capital improvements, Mr. Berger.
Since our last board meeting, the school district published on September 3rd a notice of intent to release the high school renovation request for proposal documents. A 6th September Zoom meeting was held to discuss the project budget, cost, and the presentation, which will be presented tonight at our working session. On September 9th, Pleasant Valley was notified of approval of a request for the environmental branch. Looking to the future, on the September 18th, the design team is scheduled to meet with the Chestnut Hill Planning Commission. Our next design meeting is scheduled for September 26th. At the 26th board meeting, we will review the request for proposal documents and have a vote for the release of those documents. A 14 October prospective contractor facility walkthrough is planned, and we are anticipating a mid-September due date for the proposals. As always, I like to say we've done an excellent job to keep this project on track, and I hope we can continue doing that going forward. Although it's a difficult project that we're working on, and it proposes a whole series of challenges that will involve everyone in the school district. So, thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Clark.
Nothing at this time.
Security, Mr. Walters.
I'm not going to add on Dr. Conrad's remarks on last Thursday's event, but I will say thank you on behalf of the community for making the safety priority #1.
All right, moving on, superintendent's report, Dr. Conrad.
Tonight I'm seeking approval for items 7B and items 7C and 7D are informational.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Kaczynski, seconded by Mr. Walters. Is there any discussion?
I just, 816, I know it's a switching it, but from 815 to 816 years down has, it says the district will provide education on network etiquette and appropriate online behavior for students, et cetera. Like, when and how is that done? Is that like, I know it's in the policy, but like, how's it gonna be forwarded to them?
I'll talk to this
Pointing.
board.
No, he's pointing.
On this one.
Sure. So when we're talking about the appropriateness of using digital devices and stuff like that, it is embedded in our curriculum. At least, I can speak specifically to the middle school as that's what I'm most familiar with. But there were units that were actually designed within those technology curriculum to talk about, cyber safety, not releasing your own private information, how to treat other people online, what that can be, your cyber imprint, right? What's your digital imprint, your thumbprint, whatever you want to call it too. It is built in there.
Staff and stuff like that too, because that's the saying, so you're gonna make sure staff, so.
Along with staff, we do actually already have a Google Classroom set up where we are providing resources for our faculty. That's new this year. That's something we just created. As far as your, along with the policy of saying this is for digital safety, correct?
Correct.
Yeah. So there will be opportunities for them to learn. We are going to be providing them opportunities through, it could be professional development sessions. We are going to be providing development sessions actually in October for our support staff and how to use certain applications and the proper use in that kit. It is going to be staggered within what we're doing.
Because you said we're gonna provide it. Thank you.
Yep.
Anyone else? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And that motion carries.
Human resources, Mrs. Coleman.
Yes, good evening. Tonight I'm seeking approval of items 8B through 8J. Items 8K through 8M are informational.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Kaczynski, seconded by Mr. Walters. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And that motion carries.
Tonight I'm also seeking approval of items 9B through 9F. Item 9G is informational.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Zip, seconded by Mr. Walters. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And that motion carries. And please give us your good news, because I just think it's great news.
Yeah, so happy to announce that we're fully staffed. We have a nurse at ADE and a school psychologist on this agenda. So we're very happy and really excited for them to get started. So
It's great news.
Mhm.
And
It is
thanks for
very
the
good
hard
news.
work. I've seen
It's-
public things, and
it's definitely teamwork for sure.
yeah, I've seen other districts out there that are still struggling, so thank
Right.
you.
It's really good for us.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to curriculum, Dr. Howard.
Tonight I'm seeking approval for item 11A.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Kaczynski, seconded by Mr. Clark. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And that motion carries.
Next, moving on to operations. Mrs. Beck.
Tonight I am requesting approval of item 12A.
Second.
Motion by Mr. O'Keefe and seconded by Mrs. Zip. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And that motion carries.
Business management, Mrs. Beck.
I'm also requesting approval of items 13B through 13F.
So moved, Galler.
Second, Surface.
If I can't hear that voice. Motion by Mr. Galler, seconded by Mrs. Surface. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And that motion carries. But I do know who really appreciates that. That's Deb.
She did say thank you.
I heard that. Good to see her smile.
I am also requesting approval of items 14C and 14D.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Surface, seconded by Mr. Walters. Is there any discussion?
14B. that the strategic schools social agreement?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, okay, I understand the purpose behind it. I just want to know that, I feel that we put a lot of confidence and we highly recommended Tammy to come board here. And I think if Tammy needs help, my opinion is she should be one to decide if we really need the help, because we did as a board hire her to take over the business position. So if she needs the help, I think basically she should be one. That's her expertise.
And there was verbiage placed.
Something that says that, yeah,
There
that
is
she, if
verbiage
she
in
needs
there
help, then,
That it's the committees.
Right.
So
right, okay,
there is verbiage.
thank you.
Anyone else? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And that motion carries. Mr. Fitzgerald.
Nothing new this evening.
Okay, thank you. Pleasant Valley citizens. Is there anyone that'd like to address the board? Okay, move on. Pleasant Valley school directors. Anyone have any comments this evening?
I just want, I read in the report, MCTI, I just would like to pass on congratulations to Dennis Berger on his finished dissertation. He's a heck of a guy, and he's a heck of a job up there at MCTI, and please pass it on. He did a great job.
Not sure I can call him doctor. I know.
Everyone calls him V.
Yeah, we have too many other nicknames. But yes, yeah, very proud of him. Great. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'd like to jump on board here quick. We don't have a section for this under our committee reports, but I'd like to just bring the board up to speed from the negotiations team. We did reach out to the teacher union leadership a few months ago, inviting them to early bird negotiations. We did this realizing where times are right now and with our staff and what's going on with the economy, to see if we could help them along with this. They agreed. We did meet with the leadership, and as a result of that, they have opted not to pursue early bird, but rather wait and open the contract in a traditional negotiation process. So again, this is an update for you all, let you know where we are on things. Since they've opted for this, we will be honoring that. We will be now focusing on our Act 93 and our professional contract, which expired at the end of this year. Mark, do you have anything on that?
The only thing to add is, based on the timeline, the teacher's contract does not end until June 30th of 2025. The process is required to begin as of January 11th, 2025. And I know that there are a good number of board members who either have never been a part of the process or have had extremely limited experience in the process. Over the next several weeks, we would kind of indoctrinate you in terms of the process so you're prepared for January.
Anyone else? Okay, Dr. Conrad.
Sure. Short remarks, not surprising, but to the flag store and Ben Marcel's for their donation of flags for the Farnborough High School. They actually donated 40 American flags for the Farnborough High School, and they also replaced the Armed Forces flag that are proudly displayed in front of our high school. They also gifted the school district 2 American flags. We're very grateful for their support, as we were all recognized and honored 9/11. And just wanted to keep that in your thoughts and prayers as well. Also, one last thing too is never forget the positive impact that you can have on students' life. Go Bears.
Thank you, Dr. Conrad. Tonight we do have our work session, which is going to be the follow this session. I encourage you to stay because it's going to be exciting. We're going to the final high school design phase. As you can see, the board down here have all our colors that we've chosen, and very exciting stuff going to start to happen real soon. But I have a motion.
So moved.
Motion and second to adjourn. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, we are adjourned. We'll take like a 5-minute break and then we'll start our session.
Sorry about that. I heard, I wasn't sure which policy you were referencing. So it was all of a sudden I was like, yeah, we got that. Well, yeah, you gave me a number and not a name.
Wow.
I have a PowerPoint instead of the PDF for the design meeting, whatever.
You were pulling audibles. Yeah. I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. Let me see what I can do here. I just need to see if I actually have a USB port for it.
The PowerPoint's always like enormous to try and send, and it always gets angry. So.
Let me see if I can pull her up real quick. Because if we're doing that, I'll close this. I can always pull it back up.
You want to come sit here?
I am.
Good idea. Come sit. This TV is actually really clear. I would sit here. Directors, my recommendation would be here, especially Mr. Galler, so I can keep an eye on him. He gave me the 5-minute cutoff already.
Already.
I know, that's why I come sit here. 5 minutes each? There we go. First, I just wanted to recognize the entire team that's been working on this. Director Berger did a great job giving you a quick summary of everything that's happening, but I did want to recognize the team members, your administrative team, Dr. Conrad, Tammy, Ray, the principals, and everyone, all of the team. There's been a lot of input from everybody, and then your board representatives as well. Sue Kresge, as well as Norm Berger and Diane Surface, have put a lot of time in. We really have a great team. We've been working very collaboratively together. And then I'll turn it over to Shannon. She's got all the exciting stuff. I got some odds and ends to cover and budget. I'll just calm everyone's nerves. Right now, we're tracking on budget, so we'll get to that in a minute, because I know it's a big project, and so I'll just turn it over to Shannon and we'll get going.
Thanks, Ruth. Good evening, everyone. All right, go ahead. And just go ahead, keep going.
Alrighty.
Perfect. So many of the things that you'll see tonight are just the same slides that you guys have seen in previous meetings, maybe with just some little updates, especially now that we're at the final stages right before we go out to bid. The next thing tonight is we have the boards as was mentioned earlier, with kind of the real life, samples of everything. So a lot of things you'll see in the renderings tonight, you now can touch and see in person. And sometimes, when you see something on the screen, it doesn't look exactly the same as it will see in real life. So just looking at the site plan again, we're reorganizing the bus lot in the back to provide better circulation and creating kind of another loop road to increase safety and security, get the parents off of 115 and into the internal circulation of the high school site. And then, creating a new main entrance, new classroom additions, new cafeteria entrance, so that kids coming off of that new bus lot will be able to enter into a new space. So this is your existing floor plan. And then moving forward, next slide.
Mhm.
Just taking a look at the areas that we are demolishing. So the main one being that old auditorium, along with all kind of the associated spaces in the front of the building near your existing admin. And then the other two kind of small demolition areas. One is that glass, box on the back of the cafeteria, as well as.
Calls it Taco Bell.
I don't want to be quoted to that. And then that portion in the front is kind of just that vestibule into your auditorium lobby, and that's really just to make room for these new additions at the cafeteria that I mentioned, as well as the new main entrance. So then moving on to heavy renovation areas. This is just areas that are showing where we're going to be moving a lot of walls. The whole building is being renovated, brand new MEP spaces, brand new ceilings, brand new lights. But these are the areas that we're really moving walls and reconfiguring the spaces that are there. Next. So then taking a look at the additions, there's 5 additions kind of spread out throughout the perimeter of the building, as mentioned many times before. So we have our new main entrance, which includes your administration, student services, and 2 classrooms. Your classroom addition, which is where your existing administration is right now. That will include 4 classrooms in the front and a larger classroom on the side. You have your cafeteria entrance addition in the back. A mechanical room, again, since we're upgrading the entire building, we're really going to need additional space, especially with something Reef will get into a little bit later in the presentation is the phasing. There's going to be a lot of kind of duplicate spaces to keep the building up and running, which is what we need to do during the phasing of this project. So you'll kind of have a lot of mechanical spaces in the beginning, you'll have new ones, and then they'll switch over kind of in the second summer. And then we have a connection corridor addition, so that again increases the efficiency and the layout of the building, allows students to have another access point around the building instead of having to always go through that central core. And then, as mentioned before, there's a team room alternate, which would include 2 team rooms and a new gym lobby on the back of the building. So we're going to just take a look at some zoomed in portions of each one of the additions, and then we're going to show you some interior renderings like we've shown before. Again, the nice thing about us kind of being at the end is it's pretty finalized, so you're going to see a lot of the materials that are going to be used in the actual project. So hopefully when this project is done in 2.5 years, we'll be able to come back and give you guys some before and afters, and they'll look pretty similar. So looking at the main entrance and classroom addition, this is your existing auditorium entrance view. And then on to the next one, you'll see the proposed entrance on your far right there. You kind of see the paw print sign. That's your big and brand new administration suite, as well as a new main entrance with a secure vestibule, emphasizing safety and security for the site. We really wanted to make the main entrance very identifiable, so when visitors come to the site, they know exactly where they need to go, and also providing a secure vestibule so that you're separating any students that are coming in with any visitors that are visiting. Next one. So just another look kind of from the student parking lot. So again, that paw print you can see behind behind that wall is your main administration space. And then to the left, a little bit of a lighter brick, that's your student services. And then farther to the left, you have a lighter brick, that's one of the classrooms, and then the continuation of the classroom addition all the way back to your old gym. So you kind of see that whole facade is pretty much brand new. So it's really, from the traffic circle and from your student parking lots, you're seeing a brand new building as you're approaching. So then just zooming in on the administration addition, you can go ahead and go to the next slide. A look at what the reception area could look like, or will hopefully look like at this point, since we are now at the end of the process. So that wood door you see, that is on the other side, that would be your secure vestibule where you hand over your license, they give you the badge, and then it buzz you into the reception space.
No changes, Dr. Conrad.
I said I'd like to thank.
Just making sure that was.
So then moving on to the other side of that addition, again, as I specified before, this is kind of behind that lighter brick area. This is your student services. So this is from the lobby that currently goes from the existing auditorium towards the middle of the building. So you have the light blue lockers on either side, which is kind of a good way to orient yourself on where you are in the building. So this will be your new student services entrance, reception area, and multiple offices for your counselors and psychologists. So moving on to the classroom addition, so that was the one that's further along. On your left hand of your page is your old gym. So then right outside of these classrooms, this is right now your existing administration space. So rearranging that to provide more classroom spaces, and then also providing a little bit of a bigger corridor, not just for increased flow and efficiency in the corridors, but also just some breakout spaces perhaps off of the corridor that students can collaborate, and then also even maybe possibly come down from the cafeteria. Maybe the seniors can come down and have lunch in these areas. So looking at a typical classroom, as I mentioned before, a majority of the classrooms are getting new finishes. So you'll have new floors, new ceilings, new LED light fixtures, new cabinets on the side, new countertops, new marker boards, and then the projectors that you guys have installed will get reinstalled into these spaces. So then moving on to the cafeteria addition, again, coming right off of the bus loop, you can go ahead and take a look at, this is your existing, as Arif mentioned, the Taco Bell glass building on the back. And then if you click the proposed new cafeteria entrance off of the bus loop, on the far right, kind of off of the screen, would be that new mechanical addition that we were talking about. So then taking a look from inside the cafeteria, right now this is just kind of the corridor, so we're opening that up a little bit, allowing for better flow in those corridors, and then also just easy access between the corridor and the cafeteria. There's no door, so it's more of an open cafeteria, so the traffic can come in and out, especially during arrival and dismissal. So then taking a look, so the doors are behind you, so you would be, if you were coming in from the bus loop, this would be your view into the cafeteria. You have your serving kind of on the far back on the right. And then on the left is a space that we have kind of looked into, possibly the seniors having access to this space. It's another just eating space, but also could be closed off. So if you wanted to have a couple classes meet together, or the freshman class has a meeting in there, it can accommodate that. Moving towards the center of the building. So this is one of the heavy renovation areas that we looked at, rearranging the walls in this area to create a new STEAM lab, as well as 2 additional classrooms. You can go ahead. So this is your view. Your auditorium is behind you. walking down towards, it's just classrooms right now. So then if you go to the next slide, this would be the proposed entrance into the new STEAM lab. So you'll see on the left-hand side and farther down on the right, you have kind of these collaboration benches and little alcoves for kids to get together and work in groups together, or even just by themselves if they wanted a kind of an alcove to work in.
So is that, right now, there's that outdoor thing.
The courtyard?
Yeah, that's still there.
The courtyard would be behind you a little bit on the right.
Yeah.
So we're actually moving the classrooms that are there now. There's an extra corridor that kind of goes towards the cafeteria
Right.
now. We're moving the walls so that the classrooms there will now have windows that look into the courtyard. So then taking a look at, this is the south hallway at the STEAM lab. So your STEAM lab is right in front of you here. Again, creating other spaces for students to collaborate and also widening those corridors, which we knew was a very important aspect of the project, just because those corridors can get pretty congested during class changes. So then looking at the north rendering, so it's a little bit different. We wanted to put some more softer seating here. Possibly students can come down here, have lunch, and just create kind of different feels on one side versus the other side to give them different opportunities. So look inside the STEAM lab. We are proposing skylights into this space that we can get more natural light since it is in the center of the building. And then kind of laying it out in a way where it could be a classroom on one side and more of a working space on the other side. We are, looking into different types of furniture options to accommodate those. So this is one of the classrooms off of the STEAM lab. So you can see there's kind of a roll-up door in the middle of your screen, so you have direct access to that STEAM lab. So you can use this classroom in conjunction with that or by itself. This is built to be able to move the furniture around, be flexible, have places for the students to plug in and present different projects as well. So moving to the gym area, so this is the connection corridor I talked about. This is right where your weight room and wrestling room are now, but we're rearranging the walls so that we can have that connection corridor. If you keep going up on your screen, you would run into the existing art rooms. And so we're rearranging that so then they're kind of, instead of them being next to each other, one's on top of the other. So this is what the connection corridor would look like. Lots of spaces on the left-hand side for you guys to display any type, what sports in season, the teams, their posters, anything like that. And then you have your weight room on the right, and the wrestling room is a little bit farther up the corridor. So then your team room, which again, as mentioned, is an alternate, but it creates kind of this secondary lobby off of the back of the gym, as well as 2 team room spaces, just benches and toilets in there. So there's no showers, there's no lockers, but somewhere where the teams can come during halftime and at least, take a break, have some water, discuss whatever needs to happen, in the next part of the game. So looking at the exterior there, so there's your existing rendering of the existing gym, and then the proposed team room addition. So you can see we maintained egress from the gymnasium. That was also very important. We needed to make sure that we were still able to get everybody out safely out of the gym, so you still have the 6 exits so people can get out. And then a look at the proposed lobby inside there. So I'm going to turn it over to Reef for the not as exciting stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, I always get the not exciting stuff or the controversial stuff. So one of the things, Director Berger brought this up, the implementation of this project is going to require everybody's help. It's just really going to need to be executed. And there will be challenges, as Director Berger said. We are doing some things, we've done some things to really do as much investigation as possible. And we've done a lot of hard work with all of the team. I think you guys know we're dropping the ceilings in there to get a head start so we can see everything and make sure the contractors can see everything. We did some building scans and everything, but really the implementation of this project, we've done 2 things I think that are very important here. One is, we have J.C. Mills, and J.C. Mills provides that swing space, essentially. The other thing is, we started this project with the fact that we had more classrooms in them. So that, again, adds to that advantage. The big advantage here is we wanted to create a phasing that tried to minimize disturbance for the educational process as much as possible, because for those 2.5 years, we still have to teach the kids. So that was very important. We really did try hard on that, but there will be challenges. The second part was, it's a very big project, and we wanted to make sure contractors could be efficient, so that we were paying very little for temporary stuff and more for the permanent. You know, the example I always give is you drive the Northeast Extension and they tell you it's a $300 million project. Well, over half of that was all the temporary lane closures and everything else. The permanent improvements, if you actually come up with the value, is less than half. So we don't want to be in that boat. So for that, we're going to ask for everyone's help and cooperation, because otherwise it just moves the needle pretty high. So I'm going to go through this quickly. It's a little bit boring, but you'll have it on the website, and we're going to use it to educate the parents, the teachers. Continuously, we'll update that, and we'll find a way to use it to update that. But as Shannon said, it's 2.5 years, so why don't we get started? So the first summer will be this coming summer of June 2025 to August 2025. And you'll see the site plan then, you see a lot of arrows and red lines, but really the first summer will be to create the staging areas and try to create those zones for construction, and obviously for parents, buses, and teachers to get in and out of the school. And we'll focus the first summer on starting on some of the additions, not all of them. The team room addition is a later phase, but other than that, all of those additions that Shannon showed you will be starting immediately. The other thing that's important is you look at that June 2025 date, and you'll see that when I show you the schedule. We're going to be coming to you for awards, by January. Like everybody's like, why? Okay, so we want to hit that because there's a procurement planning phase. So when come June, we can hit the ground running. No excuses. So that's why that's really important. So we really tried to think through that. So just creating the separate zones, that new parking lot on the bottom left there, which will be the bus driver parking lot, is going to be used by contractors initially for parking. And then the staging area up top next to the football field will become the staging area, the area that PennDOT had used for staging. We will use that also for contractor staging. All right, next slide. So now, once we start the school year, September 2025 to June of 2026, we want everything to stay the same on the outside. Inside, there'll be a lot of different things going. We'll show you that in the building phasing. So there's a site phasing, and then there's a building phasing. And then there's a phasing within the phasing that I'm not going to show you because it's too complicated. All right? So really what's happening in that first school year is the traffic patterns are changing. They're going to stay the same. So the buses are essentially where they go now in that upper bus loop. Then we're going to have parent drop-off here on the left by the gymnasium. And then, of course, we have to maintain teacher parking on the right. That's going to happen over there as well. So we are going to try to make sure that there's throughway through the parking lot in the back by J.C. Mills as well. And, you'll see in a minute when the building phasing shows up how that all works, okay? If I'm going too slow, tell me, I'll go faster, but I also don't want anybody to misunderstand how complicated this is, as Director Berger said. Next slide. So now we go into July and September, so that's summer. It's not that important exactly what we're doing that summer, but this is the summer of heavy-duty site utility cutoffs. And this summer, we basically told the high school that other than the custodians and maintenance, there should be nobody in the high school. There's going to be all kinds of power outages and everything going on to try to make all the transitions. So think about this. This is a year later because we need to get all the prep work done in advance, okay? So that's the important part you can remember of this summer. And when we get out of this summer, we start to get on the home stretch. Next slide. So that actually stays all the way to 2027, that exterior site phase, okay? And then the reason it's September, October, seeding and carrying on and finishing the project. Now we get into the building phasing, the first summer. Now the building phasing, we've broken it down into, again, the summer, and then between the summer and December or January, and then January to June, and then et cetera again, from the September to December, those type of phases. So the first summer, you can see we're the project's underway. And everybody's gonna come here the first summer and you're gonna say, my God, how are we gonna put this together? Diane showed you a couple of those pictures at MCTI, that this is going to put that to shame. You know, we have a huge complex, and there's a lot going on. So this first summer, we're going right into the low, very light renovation areas on the auditorium side over by J.C. Mills. You know, getting those areas started. We're doing all of the red of the additions, so all the red additions are starting that summer, so we can get them out of the ground. And then we're doing a little bit of work. We're starting the work in the heavy renovation area as well that Shannon was telling you about, which is those the heavy renovation area, the steam rooms, etc. Okay, and we are doing some light work as well in the gymnasium. Next slide. So now this is the first school year. You're starting September 2025 to December 2025. So that green area is occupied. You can see the J.C. Mills wing going up to the right there. It's fully occupied, both floors, okay? And that center area now is not available. The steam area is not available, as well as if you see on the second floor, the science wing, as we could call it, is not available at that time. So those are all areas that are not available to the students, all the blue areas essentially, and the red. The red is the additions. So you kind of get a feel. But we've looked at the pathways. You see that pink line sort of going through? So that's the pathways, how students are going to get across the building to all the different areas. The cafeteria area, we're going to temporarily relocate into the Augs gym. So that light blue that you see in the front, that becomes a temporary cafeteria, but we're still serving in the kitchen there and moving the food over. There will be a phase where we're actually bagging the lunches and bringing it in, when we actually go do the kitchen in earnest. That's a subsequent phase. So September, December 2025. Next slide.
Dr. Howard, can you just add or about the education of our students during, I guess, this September of 25 to, you know, through that school year, I guess?
You want to go back one?
Yeah, sure.
I don't care who, but
We'll be moving classrooms over to the JCM.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just how many, and, you know, so the board members that don't know this.
There is a number on there.
Oh, is there?
Oh,
There was
boy.
on the ones that we worked on our
Yeah,
last
I don't
planning
think
meeting.
it's not on this one, but you have to count them. But
But-
I think it's approximately 20 classrooms.
There were 20 classrooms, but I don't think we're using all of them at any
Well,
time.
the students are gonna be over there for a year, like, they're not gonna, I guess that's my point.
That
We're not
stays.
disrupting.
No,
We're-
yeah,
We're not
exactly.
disrupting, even though it says, you know, September 25 to December, we're not disrupting those students. They're staying in in those classes. That's what,
Not necessarily. If they would move, it would be at like over the Christmas
Semester.
break.
Yes.
oh, okay.
But that would be it. There's not going to be like every few weeks or something
Yeah,
like that. So they're either going to be over there for those classrooms will either be there for the year or for like the first semester.
Okay. That's what I wanted to make sure.
And because we did talk about it, we were going to wait and move some classrooms like in March, but it's empty at JCN, so let's move them over the Christmas break. Then they can stay there from Christmas the whole way to the end of the school year.
No, that's a very good point, Director Kresge. And just to remind everyone, we're gonna have these from September to December, and then we're gonna have the January to June phase. So you're absolutely right. There's no change occurring between September and December in the phasing. And then I know Ray and them have worked really hard wherever we can. You'll see, if you flip to the next one, see the blues are still there. So whether some of those blues move or not, but if you look on the upper left, on the second floor, some of the blues were no longer there again. You see what I mean? So there was a shift in those classrooms, but not in all of them, okay? And you're gonna have like a map, that basically, changes. Think about this, even through all of these phases, we're gonna have to work with him, the fire marshal, on, egress plans for every phase.
Mhm.
There are all kinds of things going on here. These color plans, she does a great job of putting colors.
I love the colors.
It looks really good. There's a lot of complexity there, so we'll be on it, and we have a great team. I mean, everybody's been working together hand in hand. And so that's great. So January to April, the big thing there that you'll notice the big difference now is the purple area. That's the area Shannon was saying. So we're going to start removing that area to begin those additions that stick off the end there. You'll see those in a minute. But other than that, we're still in that heavy duty blue area. It takes a lot of work, and you can see, so we're still in that steam area with the heavy renovation. And then we're still doing the cafeteria and the mechanical. I think this is the phase where the cafeteria is brown back. Because we're taking the next one. Okay, so if you slide, yeah, next slide. There you go. See how the kitchen turned blue? So this phase here, there's no kitchen. And so the cafeteria is they're cooking at the middle school, I think, is what we agreed on. And they're going to bring the food over to the cafeteria in this time. So this is April to June of 2026. And then if you go into the summer, this is the summer. You can see we're everywhere in the summer. And we're starting those classroom additions in the front there, where the old admin used to be, as well as that corner classroom. And this is also, hopefully we can afford, and the board decides to proceed with the gym alternate, the team room alternate. We would then start that in this phase. That's when this is when that starts. All of the other additions, if you remember, started before. Those three additions, the two in the front and that one, are sort of starting in this phase. And that's a technique we had talked about. We're working on an alternate bid. I'll just tell you about that because it's something that'll come up. So we're going to have an alternate bid where you can accept that alternate on bid day if all the numbers come in where we want to and we're comfortable with how much we're going to spend. And Tammy's going to show you, how that's going to work in a minute. But the alternate we're going to put in is to give us a 9-month leeway on deciding on that alternate because it's not happening till later. And the advantage of the 9-month is, we're going to get through that first 9 months, see what sort of challenges we hit, where we are with contingency and everything. And if we're doing really well, it further reinforces the ability for the board to make that decision. So that's one of the strategies we're using because that's the biggest alternate we have. It's a big alternate. I think strategically it was a good move to make it, and we just want to give us every advantage in accepting. All right, so August, next slide. Now we're September to December. Now what's really cool though about this project too is, although there are challenges every time, every one of these different stages, there's new things that the students and the teachers will see. So places will get completed, things will happen, and you'll see it. It's really get a champion to turn this building into a teaching tool, a learning experience, and find some way to really capture that at the high school. I think this is a fantastic opportunity because it's happening right there. And we're happy to help. I know Shannon and her team will be happy to help, if we need to get engagement with somebody who does that. So now you can see this phase, we're really starting to, give all of the green areas back to, and right now you're feeling like, man, this is a great high school. Other than those little additions and the blue area in the front, that's off limits. You're starting to capture back your high school. All right, and then you go to the next phase. You'll see it stays pretty much the same because it takes that long to do those additions, and there's a little more work in the back and the mechanical area that we're targeting at that. Next slide, and then essentially, June to August of 2027, we do the last bit of renovation, which is the lighter renovation at the J.C. Mills wings because we don't need those classrooms anymore. The students are back, and we're also doing the work in the front. So that summer, we're going to hit those and get the building ready. So when you come September, which is the next slide, you basically end up with the whole building. Okay. So September of 2027 is what we're looking at. Say October because there'll be odds and ends going on through the end of that. So that's the phasing. Any questions? All right, next slide. I'm just kidding. All right. No, it's been well thought out, and there's a lot of things that are going to happen. But I think taking it phase by phase and educating the staff and teachers phase by phase is probably the best one because you get along. Okay. So budget and schedule update is next. The budget. Next slide.
Sorry, I started snoozing over
By the way,
here.
you're doing really well.
It's been 2 long days. I was really into those words.
I apologize that this is small to read, but we wanted to make sure you saw all the numbers. I'm just gonna come up here, you guys can hear me, right? Okay, so we just wanted to show you that this is broken down with the bids that you're gonna get. So when we bid this project, we're gonna have a GC, electrical, mechanical, and plumbing contractor, and an environmental abatement contractor. So 5 prime contracts is what you'll be awarding. And we've gone through and analyzed each one. Sorry if you can zoom back out. Okay. Bottom line is the total construction cost, we are currently tracking, if you look at line 24, we're tracking $152,000 off where we were with the estimate, which is really good with all of the different things that have been happening. So we've done really well. To be fair, we took $250,000 from line 27, which was the design and estimating contingency, to make that balance. We have a small adjustment in soft costs that we'll be talking to you about at a future meeting. And then we're still carrying the construction contingency, line 28, of $4 million. Okay? When you put that all together with the team room project, we had $103 million. But when you subtract the team room, which is the alternate, we're at $99,750,000. So the base bid project that we're bidding is $99,750,722 is the estimate, but say $99.7 million. And that's $17,000 off the last budget update that we gave you. So we're tracking really well. We still have the $4 million contingency. So, and then we have that $3.3 million alternate. You can see it's a very big alternate. It's one that has tremendous benefits, but it is a big number, and it's, we brought that up to you before. But that's the budget update. I'll just take a minute because Tammy's gonna show you how you're going to fund that in a minute. So I just wanted to make sure you understood the numbers. So one more time, 99.7 is the number for the project all in. By the way, those soft costs include furniture, it includes contingency, obviously includes fees for us and everybody else, permit costs, that's everything. So this is an all-in number, it's not just construction costs. The construction cost number is up above there at that $88 million, where you see it, okay?
And it does include the sprinkler system through the whole building.
It includes air conditioning, sprinklers, lights. It included the pretty paint that Shannon showed you, as well as the ceilings.
That's nice paint.
So it includes all of that, absolutely. Good point. This, if you really look at the scope of the project, tying it all in and bringing it back together, we said that from the get-go, is really focused on infrastructure. You can see there's some work done to define the entrances and improve security and safety both at the front and the back. Those were really what we were focused on. Shannon showed you some images of classrooms, trying to make the classrooms more uniform and really provide some opportunities, I think, from an educational standpoint. That's kind of the genesis of the project. I think we've stuck to our guns. We made, there were some changes along the way. You guys were all on board with it as we made it, but right now we're tracking. The key right now is making sure that phasing, we hit those things, we keep ourselves accountable, and we're gonna drive this thing to get good contractors to come in here and give us competitive bid results. And that's the timeline Norm already outlined for you guys. We're giving it enough time, and I think we're, Shannon's doing a great job with her team of putting the documents together, and that's where we are at the budget. So you'll remember those numbers when Tammy comes up here. 99.7 is the number, okay, without the alternate. All right? All right, next slide. Now, we have also been hitting grants, and we've submitted the applications. We didn't sit by and let it happen, let it go by. So if you remember, we submitted the RCAP grant. It's for a $4 million request. Believe it or not, we submitted it in January of 2024, and here we are still waiting. We're being told we'll know soon. Leave it at that, because I don't really have an official date on it, okay? So hopefully we hear positively on that. and we get some, if not all of it. The Public School Facility Improvement Grant is probably more competitive than the RCAP for us because there was not enough money and everybody submitted. And so I don't know what they're gonna do. They did add a little more money to the pot. So whether they give everybody 20% of what they require, I don't know what they're gonna do. But certainly our grant submissions, I think everybody knows this, we rolled up our sleeves and we really put our very best foot forward here for the district and to make sure we could capture some of that. Speaking of which, the next one, we did have good news. I think Norm already gave it to you. We didn't get the full 321,200, but we got.
264,987.
So if we do anything close to that on those other two, I think we should be out there with the football team celebrating. Maybe we could run down with a flag, or a check or something. I'll be on board with that. Anybody want to go with me?
In looking at, well, what they did on the environmental area, when they gave it to school districts, it wasn't even percentages.
I know.
It was varied depending on, I think, the ability to persuade. So we'll have to wait and see. Right now, I'm fairly optimistic on the RCAP. I'm not sure we're gonna get the amount we're requesting. But, I'm expecting to get some portion of it.
Yeah, we're a very persuasive group. I like that word. Anybody want to get me in front of them? I think I could persuade them. We'll see. But no, we tried really hard with the written submissions, okay? So that's where we are with that. I think you're up. Okay. Gee, we didn't even rehearse.
No, we didn't. Congratulations. So Shannon gave you the pretty pictures of our project, Reeve gave you the phasing and what the budget's gonna look like, and now I'm gonna get to tell you how we're gonna pay for it. So I started with the projected budget estimate at 9/12/24 of the complete 103,135 million for the project. We are gonna remove some of those things from from borrowing. The first one would be the high school athletic entrance. 3.3 million. That is a bid alternate, so that will be decided later down the road. Gym floor and bleachers, 1.1 million. Additional renovation scope, 1.9 million. The connection corridor, 1 million. And fuel tank removal and paving improvements of 1 million. We're gonna deduct those things from the budget and it brings us down to 94.7 million. And I'll touch base on how we're gonna pay for those other items that we removed from this budget. Next slide, Jason. So if we take that 94.7 million for the project, we've already started with bonding. Our first bond was in 2023. Our balance and we currently have 14,949,000 in that account. Both of these accounts, the majority of the money is invested with both of these bonds. This will mature over the next 3 to 4 months. Once everything that is invested in the treasury bills, this should be well over 15 million in each one of these bonds.
That is just excellent because we recouped all the expenses that it cost us.
And yes, we did.
I've never seen that happen before, so
Yeah.
great news.
So, and again, you'll see that I do a follow-up report after we're done with this presentation. As the months go through over the next 3 to 4 months, you'll see those two amounts grow when everything matures and the interest gets added to it. Our projection for 2025 is to go out for the next bond borrowing, and that will be 40 million. And then the last one we're projecting is in 2026 to borrow, and it actually has dropped since the last presentation in May. Not a lot, but it has dropped. The projection is 24 million. So we'll keep monitoring that last borrowing amount as we're going through this contract. When we get the bids in, that may change. So we may borrow less, we may find another way to pay without borrowing. So that's the projection and that's the plan on how to finance the project. So the items that we took out from the budget, the 5 items that we had taken out from the original 103 million budget, we're gonna pay for that through the cap reserve fund. Our available balance in August is 19,723,000. You take the 5 items that we talked about in 2 slides before, we're gonna pay for them out of the cap reserve. In 24-25, this current year, we have a budget transfer of $5 million that's already budgeted to transfer from general fund into the cap reserve. In 25-26, we're gonna project a budget 5 million. And in 26-27, we are also gonna project to transfer another 4 million from general fund into the cap reserve. From that amount, then there are priorities in all of our other buildings, which Dewey had helped develop a few years ago. So we still have all of those to address, not just the high school. So our projection and our hope is that we'll be able to pay for all of those renovations in the other buildings out of this capital reserve fund. And the projection for this is that at the end of 6/30/27, that we would be fully funded to pay for the bond for the high school renovation and have all of the money saved for the district-wide planned improvements with a remaining balance of $10 million.
It just blows my mind from where we were, I'll say, 4 years ago. And having a deficit, projected deficit in our budget of 5-point-some million, almost $6 million. I mean, I know it was tough doing some of the things we have done, and people have been here at meetings and, why did you outsource? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? And why did you look at this? But it was a big picture. We had to look at everything because we didn't want to put it on the back of the taxpayers. And fortunately enough, kudos to our administration, our business manager, our previous business manager. Here we are, and
We're staying on track.
Yeah, so kudos to everyone. Thank you.
So just a little bit of a review. So the borrowing for the high school renovation project is capped at 95 million. We will be fully funded by June 30th, 2027. That will be a budget line item to pay back that bond. At this point, for the 24-25 budget, we're actually 2 years ahead of schedule in fully funding the bond. We're going to continue to maintain a maximum annual tax impact of 2% or less. Just to mention, 24-25 was a 1%. So we maintained it, and it was less for this year. Continue to build the capital reserve to use the 8.3 million that we removed from the high school borrowing and 15 million for the other district-wide improvements. And maintain a target balance of 10 million in our capital reserve fund after all planned withdrawals are completed.
Someone give a round of applause.
Absolutely. I've been here many years and through many hard times, and this project needed to be done for many years. We always kept our fingers crossed. I remember not too long ago when you sent an email about the electric being down in high school. My first thought was, oh my gosh, are we gonna be able to get it back? Thinking it was internal and not external. So it's just wonderful.
So before I turn this back over to Ruby, does anybody have any questions for me? You get to
Thanks,
close
Yeah.
it.
All right, real quick, I think Director Berger gave you the schedule, but just to give you a quick outline, the target is that we come to you towards the end of November to award the bids so that we're in good shape. Now, there's one contingency here that we must highlight and let you know. On the right side are our permit requirements. I do not like to come to a board and award bids, or even sometimes we might have to delay the receipt of bids depending on how our permit schedule is going. Everybody is pedal to the metal. I think we've had representation there again. I think Tammy and Director Kresge over there, and she sees that the team is trying really hard, but there's only so much movement we can do with permitting requirements. The township has been cooperative so far. We're working well with them. We have an NPDS permit. It's been highlighted in yellow there that we're working through. And so I don't like to promise and notice to proceed date of 12/4, which basically it means at that time we put the green flag down to the contractors and we start spending money, right? And, you know, so I don't want to do that until we're sure we have all our permits tidied up. So my only point to you is that's the schedule. Give us some leeway because we may be adjusting things, and if you can be cooperative and a little more considerate on your meetings and how we adjust, if it happens. I'm not saying it's going to, but that's it on the schedule. Any questions on the schedule? Next slide. Your priorities, just wanted to end with this because, you know, we started with this type of stuff, if you could hit it.
Mhm.
There you go. So big thing was address the high school capital building needs. And by the way, you know, what Tammy said, and not forget the other ones either, which are on the list. So that's number one. This was important, a modern, cohesive, integrated infrastructure with any energy efficient systems. We have one central boiler system, one central chiller system, you know, all integrated systems. We don't have 6 different additions with 6 different systems going on out there. Upgrade the site, Shannon showed you that, with better circulation, improve the building layout with a refreshed civic presence. Hopefully you like what these entrances look like. If you don't, you can blame the team because we all like it. It's what we can afford right now. We did make adjustments to it and worked really hard, Shannon and our team showing many options. And establish a renewed learning environment. We'll leave that up to you guys, Ray and your team, you know. And then we completed a thorough value engineering exercise which confirmed the scope of work for the project to determine what the best value was for the district. So that's what you guys have been doing with your leadership. So we want to thank you for letting us be part of the team. Hope I can be back here in November with good results. And we'll keep working. But again, thank you to the team. Seriously, I'm here talking, but Shannon and her team and everybody here. So thank you, all of you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Anybody have any questions?
I do actually. As far as permitting, do you have a date range that you hit the panic button?
No panic button because we have it all figured out. So no panic button. We have one option. Depending what I'm seeing, I'm going to extend the bed due date. Okay? And contractors won't have a problem with that. The only problem is we were getting the bids before Thanksgiving, probably moving it to like December 10th or something, right? Which they basically buys us 3 weeks, right? So that's one option, but then I can't come to you in November, so now I'm coming to you in January.
And that's not gonna change.
We
It's not
could.
gonna change the contractor's mobilization dates or anything, right?
Because where our start date is June, I think we have no issue, okay? But it's more of a risk management. It is a bit of a schedule management. I mean, if this thing gets into February or March, I'll be telling you something different, but I don't anticipate that. Okay? I think we're doing pretty well. We've got reviews already.
Yeah, and we've been to the township once, the
Yeah.
planning, and they had submitted documents ahead of time, and I'm not gonna get names right, so I won't mention any, but I guess the engineer had given back a letter of items that they wanted, to be addressed. Then we went to the meeting in August, and there were still some additional items that needed to be addressed. Going back next week, the 18th, and but what I want to tell you is that evening at that township meeting, that planning meeting, they complimented this team, in saying that this is a huge project, but there weren't many items on the pages. So just to let you know, and a couple of the items they even noted were very well done. So, it's been a good process that I've seen.
I would just like to compliment Arif along and let our parents know that all of our special needs students have been considered during all these phases as well. We will have handicap ramps available wherever necessary for those classrooms, just so that they are aware we didn't forget that group.
All right.
Okay, all right.
Are we excused?
Yes.
I meant my 5 minutes. Yeah.
the end of the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, Hannah, you're still up, I think,
I'm here for a while.
right? Uh-oh.
Oh, boy.
Uh-oh.
No, I don't have a lot. Covering three different sections.
Oh,
tonight.
okay.
So the second, item B is our cap reserve and our bond fund balances at August 31st. Our cap reserve balance is 19,723,490. Our 2018 bond account available balance is 56,310. Our 2023 bond balance is 14,993,000, and our 2024 bond account available balance is 14,949,000. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Item C, you had heard me talk about the fresh fruit and vegetable program that we applied for over the summer. Unfortunately, PB was not awarded. There were other schools that were in more need than we were. However, Whitson's has come up with a wonderful plan to supplement this. They are piloting a snack program at PBI right now to make sure that each student is provided with a snack during his or her respective snack time. So far, everything's going well. If the pilot program works well at PBI till the end of the month, we're going to expand it to PBE. And the difference with this program than fresh fruit and vegetable, we were restricted to the elementary school kids with the fresh fruit and vegetable program. Whitson's can actually extend this to all of our buildings. So hopefully by November, December, we should be able to extend this snack program to everybody. That's all I have for finance. So Randy's next. So I'm going to put Director of Operations hat on now. The 209-115 update. Next week, PennDOT will be working on the final signage, landscaping in the roundabout, removing barrels, and some remaining cleanup work around driveways. They're planning to have the project wrapped in 2 weeks. The job trailer will remain until the job is officially closed.
2 weeks.
2 weeks they'll be done,
That's a schedule.
which I believe is like a month and a half ahead of schedule.
November was good.
The HVAC propane project updated our middle school and PBE. Middle school, they are projected to start up the propane heating system on Monday. And at PBE, they're scheduled to start the propane heating system on Thursday, September 19th. Both boiler rooms are scheduled to be completed by the end of the month. The project's going very well. And then Randy has kudos that he wanted to share with his custodians and his maintenance staff. Randy would like to thank the custodial staff for all of their hard work they completed this summer. Sometimes their work may go unnoticed or underappreciated, but if anyone were to walk through our buildings throughout the summer and see what this group accomplishes on a daily basis, it is quite impressive. Whether it's moving classrooms, stripping and waxing floors, cleaning furniture, lights, walls, and windows, handling the deliveries of supplies, assisting teachers with classroom setups, to the deep cleaning of Polk in preparation of welcoming BHA to the district. They have completed every task to ensure our schools are clean and sparkling to start the new school year. Randy would also like to thank the maintenance department for not only their work this summer, but throughout the entire school year. Here's a quick list, but definitely not a complete list, of some of their accomplishments this summer. Removed ceiling tile and secured wiring in high school hallways, installed short throw projectors in JCM classrooms, installed the new metal roof on the stadium field house, enlarged training room and bus driver module, painted parking lots, installed carpet in PBE admin offices, painted the bear paws around the stadium, and they are beginning to install the ductless split systems in the middle school. From HVAC, electrical, plumbing, carpentry, masonry, and grounds, this group's dedication and skill truly keeps PB running. And if Randy was going to appear tonight, I don't think this would have been as long.
Tammy, tell them also about what Whitson's did for the custodial maintenance.
So Whitson's had a welcome back barbecue at the, I think it was the 23rd, the Friday after the teachers came back. Whitson sponsored a welcome back barbecue for all of the support staff. There was no charge to the school. They catered, administration volunteered. We helped with setup, we helped with serving. It was very well attended. They did burgers, hot dogs, pulled pork.
Cheesesteak, sausage, pepper, onion.
peppers.
I tried it all.
You were working.
I worked first, but then there was extra food.
It was a very nice event, and they did a wonderful job.
I happened to have to come in that day, I don't remember.
To sign
I
something.
had to sign something, so Tammy, I was able to walk over, and so I was able to thank the people that were eating and having lunch, which I really appreciated the opportunity to do that. So I thanked all the staff that was there.
It was very nice. It was very nice.
I did want to comment on that as well. It actually went very much noticed by all of our employees who very happily came back to the district. They saw how beautiful the classrooms were, the hallways. I had received emails and comments myself, as well as our administration team, just how, wonderful that everything looked to get us ready for this new school year. And obviously, I echo Randy's sentiments when it comes to, maintenance, custodians, everyone working hard together to get everything ready for the start of the school year. It's an immense task, and they work tremendously hard throughout the summer, but if you just look around anywhere, it's incredible how beautiful this place looks.
And I guess I'm gonna add something because it just popped into my head, which is kind of off subject, but did you notice tonight that there was no one here about a bus issue? So kudos, to transportation.
Yeah.
Jinxed us.
Yeah.
Dina has done a really good job talking to the parents. It hasn't gone,
yeah.
but she has done a very good job in talking to the parents if any concerns or complaints. Sometimes they get bumped up to me, and sometimes they get bumped past me to Dr. Coleman. But everything's been working
Yeah.
out well with the parents.
So, thank you to that.
I was definitely expecting that to be at least the first couple of meetings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I wanted to
Yeah.
mention that.
No, we've been taking care of them, right on top of
Great.
it, answering the parents as soon as they call.
That's
So
awesome.
that actually leads into the next part of
Yes.
transportation.
It's possible, yeah.
Dina Boyne, our supervisor of transportation, has been working with her student on a new feature for transportation, which will be rolled out later this month. The program is called Fleet Text. This program will allow parents to enroll in a text message alert system for their child's specific bus. Parents will be alerted through this text message if there are any delays for picking up or dropping off. Parents will receive a Connect Ed call later this month with instructions on how to enroll. It's free.
Grandparents do it too.
You download the app. If you download the app, you just put in the information, it connects to the bus. So if the child's routed to bus 2, and that's, you wouldn't get all of the buses, you would get the one that you're routed to. It's like a feature, and it'll keep parents from worrying, why is the bus late? It could just be construction. So it's a good program, there's no cost to the district. And Dean's working with First Student to get that all set up so that everybody's included. Sure, we'll have bumps when it first starts, but we'll work with them. And efficiency routing is still scheduled for the end of this month, early October, so hopefully by beginning of November, I should have a report. Okay? I don't have anything else tonight.
Any questions? Okay. Technology?
Sure. So we have two things on the agenda for tonight. The first one was just an update on the mass communication system for the district. In light of our remote instructional day that happened on Thursday, there were some questions and even some community concerns that arose about not receiving phone calls and stuff when the Connect Ed went out. We wanted to address that right away. And from our standpoint, we immediately did dig in and try and figure out what exactly happened. In full transparency, there was a little bit of user error that had happened with that process. And when we received the first report, the message had actually gone out as basically just an update to our community. There's a bunch of different options you can choose within the Connect Ed system. We chose the one that said outreach, not the one that said emergency. Within the system, what that means is it only dials the primary contacts in some cases, not the secondary contacts, and people who opted out of phone calls, maybe from the Connect Ed calls on weekends, did not receive the call. because it wasn't considered an emergency. Obviously Dr. Conrad called me with the concerns. We looked into it. And later on that night, we did send out a message as an emergency, and our success rate went all the way up to 89%, with the 11% of the recipients not receiving the messages, potentially either having changed their cell phone numbers, having bad numbers input, or not having updated their numbers from the parent portal, which, by the way, community members, if you're watching, please log on and create your parent portal and update your information so you receive Connect Ed calls. But that is what that is. Additionally, the technology department, prior to this evening happening, has actually been looking at enhancing our communications with our community in a couple different ways. So we are actually in the works with talking with a couple different providers to see what other options are out there, to see if we can possibly increase our connection with our community, not just one way, but also two way, and actually having our community be able to reach back to us through the same kind of outlets. So that's something to look forward to. Again, that's kind of what I had to say about that. All right. Any questions for that one? Okay, cool. Second thing was the laptop buyout from lease. We have a couple systems here that we had leased out for some of our members in our school, particularly in like maintenance. There's a couple other systems that were out there for certain users, and it was actually time for that laptops to end the lease. We were going to be sending them back. In communication with the business office and looking at that, it was actually going to be more of a hassle, and actually essentially could even cost more to continue leasing instead of just buying these machines outright. So that's what that is. It's just to make sure we're doing it a little more efficiently and taking care of these machines. I believe it was only like 7 machines total. So any questions? Awesome. That's all I had for tonight. Thank you.
Policy? Okay. Superintendent's report? Okay. Education curriculum?
I didn't add anything tonight, but I will say that we are starting the reading review, picking up where we left off last year, and we will be here in the boardroom on Thursday from 8:30 to 2:30, and we've extended our committee. We have actually a parent on our committee, and we now not just doing E and I, but we have representation from the middle school and the high school. So our program is looking at everything K to 12. So
And maybe next work session, we could get an update.
I would love to do that.
Okay. Anything for security? Okay. Athletics?
I just had this in athletic stats. This is something that's conveyed to all coaches before the season began. This was basically sprung off from some of the after-school learning opportunities that we had at LRO last year to afford snacks to students who were staying after school. Unfortunately, we were able to provide our athletes this year. So as long as the coaches are filling out the Google Forms each week, they'll get a set number of snacks for our student athletes. We know that these are very long days for our students, and if they're eating lunch at 10, 11 o'clock and playing sports till 4 or 5 o'clock, they're going to be really hungry. So kudos to Tammy, to Jim, for everyone pulling together to make this happen. And I'm looking forward to getting an update from Mr. Krasinski, so I will find out how that's been going. But I want to shout out to everyone for excited.
Just on note of that, volleyball team is very appreciative. They've been using it now because those girls used to come with they're always looking for food and they weren't so happy about the cranberry thing, but other than that, but they really they enjoy it.
That's good.
I know Dr. Conrad, I talked to you about this, and I just don't want it to get dropped in. I know Jim unfortunately had a family thing, but Creighton's just wanting to donate the varsity jacket. We talked about, I think I talked to you. I didn't know. We use.
Oh, yes, I do remember,
okay,
yes, I
okay.
remember this now. Yeah, that's right.
They're a small business within our community. They do embroidering services, and I had seen Anna Pepe she came to me at the fair and said that her and Jody wanted to do this. So somehow we have to get this started because they don't want to start it, but they want to donate one varsity letter jacket to an athlete that is in need, couldn't afford one. So I don't know if I don't know, should I just pawn that off on you, Ryan, to work with Jim?
See, that
Yeah, during, work with that and work with the coaches that find out where that need is
They
needed.
wanted to do one, they wanted a year, so I don't know,
One, sport season, one.
No, one.
Okay, I asked.
yeah,
That's great news.
okay, all right, thank you, appreciate that, and then, whatever you, need or whatever. All right, anybody have any other thing this evening? Okay, I have to ask for public comment, anyone like to make public comment? We are adjourned. It's 8:38.
Wow. Way more than I wanted to know.